let's go to the next part here. Some politics, some really interesting stuff going on between Trump and Ron DeSantis. The open war continues, not just in terms of whether DeSantis is sanctimonious or not, but now on policy. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. Trump gave a very interesting interview to a new news site called The Messenger, and he actually hit DeSantis, saying that a 6-week abortion limit is, quote, too harsh. So the full quote is what he said. He has to do what he has to do, Trump said when he was asked about Florida abortion rules. If you look at what DeSantis did, a lot of people don't even know if he knew what he was doing. But he signed 6 weeks, and many people within the pro-life movement feel that's too harsh. Now, first of all, I don't think that that's true, that they feel too harsh, but what I think is even more interesting is that when you were reading the transcript of this interview with Trump, he has, and I've said this before, rambling answers on abortion. The answer that he gave here in print is even more crazy. So he asks him about, the messenger is asking him about late-term abortions, but he both has to brag and also bring himself back to the exceptions. That's perfect in this answer. He says they've been trying to get rid of Roe. I was able to do it. Nobody else could have done that but me. And I was able to do it by nominating 3 justices. What it did more than anything is give us tremendous power of negotiation, which we didn't have. The pro-life movement, the tremendous power of negotiation. Now the pro-life movement has to negotiate a deal that's acceptable for them. So then they ask him about whether the 6-week ban is acceptable. He says, no, I think that's too harsh. Then he says, well, what do you think? Is it too harsh for you? Quote, I am looking at all alternatives. I'm looking at many alternatives, but I was able to get us to the table. That's the most important thing that ever happened for the pro-life movement. Would you sign a 6-week abortion ban or not? Quote, I am looking at all options. Sounds like a man who doesn't know what he thinks.
Oh, and, he knows what he thinks. He knows he doesn't want to touch a 6-week abortion ban with a 10-foot pole.
We know what he thinks.
Yeah.
We also know that, at the very least, it shows that he is not a political idiot whenever it comes to abortion. But just to show everybody the quandary that Trump has now found himself in, put this up there on the screen, the Susan B. Anthony's list and other or I guess pro-life groups, whichever terminology you want, blasts Trump over federal ban comments because Trump basically said he wouldn't sign a federal abortion ban. The Susan B. Anthony group actually put out a statement responding to the Trump campaign where they said it was unacceptable and that they would not support any White House candidate who did not support a minimum ban of a 15-week federal abortion ban. They say the Supreme Court made its clear decision. It was returning the issue to the people, and the group said that holding to a position that exclusively is up to the states is an abdication of responsibility by anyone who is elected to federal office. And here's the thing with the Susan B. Anthony group and all them. At least you can commend them, is they're honest. They're very open about what they want.
Yeah.
They have a group. They have an agenda. They know it's unpopular. They don't care. They want to see it enacted, and they have litmus tests. The thing is that they are playing a very powerful role in the GOP primary because it's not just Trump that they're going after. They're basically setting the stage for Mike Pence. This just happened 2 days ago, which is why I wanted to note it. Put it up there on the screen. They also are blasting Nikki Haley for not saying that she would support a federal abortion ban because she gave an interview to Face the Nation where she said, quote, it is not realistic to have, quote, advanced gestational limits on abortion at the federal level. The pro-life groups, as Susan B. Anthony's list said, when Nikki Haley talks about national consensus, we are in agreement. She says the 72% of Americans support abortions at least by 15 weeks, just so everyone knows that polling has changed. It did previously say that. But they say that the pro-life movement must have a nominee who will be boldly advocate for this consensus and as president will work tirelessly to gather the votes necessary in Congress. So they're making it basically 15 weeks or bust. And I mean, look, Krystal, when you're looking at that, they're just wielding their power that they know that they have. They have millions of people who belong to their group. But when you have none of the federal candidates, basically, except for Mike Pence, who has publicly signed on, then you're in a real quandary. And also, it's great for Pence, but it also shows you that DeSantis, in many ways, is running to the right of Donald Trump. And this is why it is scrambling so many of the brains of the conservative commentariat and even of the liberal ones, because you'll see Trump attacks DeSantis on Social Security, saying he wants to cut Social Security, and on abortion. And so then I see conservative commentators, I think I saw like Matt Walsh or whatever, being like, well, Trump is attacking DeSantis from the left. And I'm just like, yeah, but you know, his ideological inconsistency and quote unquote moderation is kind of why he won in 2016. And also the quote, very conservative voters that people always like to look at, those people are already for DeSantis anyways. He's polling very high with them. Those are the classic GOP voter, small business owner who will vote for anyone with an R next to their name. They love Romney. They love Paul Ryan. Of course they love DeSantis. Guess what though? As Romney found out, you can't win the presidency with those people. It's really only like 40-something% of the country who will basically vote R no matter what. So you have got to win at least a significant larger portion. Those people are not very conservative. So running from the left, at least in a general election, and when I say left, I mean really more centrist, that is smart politically. And it also shows you why Trump actually could be more electable than Ron DeSantis in many ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part that's really interesting is DeSantis pitches himself, part of his pitch is like he's the more electable candidate. But when you stake out these, you know, extreme positions on abortion, and you also stake out a position that is anathema to a lot of American people on Social Security and Medicare based on his previous comments, yeah, that's going to put a hit on your electability piece. I mean, the part that's interesting to me about the pro-life movement and, you know, their reaction to Trump, their reaction to Nikki Haley, et cetera, is Trump can get away with these things more than other candidates can, right? And this is why Ron DeSantis in like the dead of night felt compelled to sign this 6-week abortion ban, even though he's not an idiot. He knows this is a problem for him in a general election. He knows this is wildly unpopular with the overwhelming majority of the American people. But you got to divide between the general election audience and the primary audience and groups that are very organized and very powerful, like Susan B. Anthony list. And so that's why he signed that ban, because he's placing also this big bet on Iowa. And these groups are even more disproportionately powerful in the state of Iowa. So where Trump staked out this more trying to sound like a moderate position on abortion, he's been singing this tune for a while. And guess what? His polls are really high. They just keep going up. DeSantis probably couldn't weather the storm in the same way. And here's the other thing. DeSantis is trying to appeal to an ideologically consistently conservative group that Trump, frankly, doesn't really need in order to win.
Not at all.
I mean, Trump's strength is with non-college educated voters who, you know, have been with him the whole time, where it's more of a visceral appeal, and he's got those folks wherever he stands on abortion. So DeSantis is more vulnerable on these issues because of the coalition that he is trying to stitch together. And I think all the other candidates too. And it's just, you know, you see this in politics all the time. There are just some candidates who have the charisma and skill to pull off things that other candidates can't. And Donald Trump is one of those people who can get away with things that other people just can't get away with. And I think that is laid bare by what's going on with abortion right now.
Perfectly said. You know, DeSantis is held to the same standards as a normal politician, and Trump is just held to whatever the hell standards people have decided to hold Trump. Not fair, but it is what it is. Life is not fair.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.